everyone. My name is Jeremy, creator and co-host of the Star Trek Wars podcast. Joining me tonight is my co-host and co-life partner, Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to Star Trek Wars, your official bootleg Star Trek podcast. The episode we're reviewing tonight will be rated on a scale from 1 to 10 by us, the co-hosts, and you guys in the Star Trek Wars Council that left a rating on our Facebook page. If you wish to join the council and have your vote counted for next week's episode, head over to that page. You can find us by searching for Star Trek Wars. The council should pop up right at the top. There you can rate the episode yourself and can also leave a comment that'll be potentially read on air. It's a great community. We're all on there, very active, and love talking Trek with you. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 2, Kayshon, His Eyes Open. Written by Chris Kula, directed by Kim Arndt. The Lower Deckers have trouble bonding with Ensign Jet Manhaver, who has been assigned Boimler's bunk and shift duties. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse of Boimler's life on the Titan, which is more intense than he thought it would be. All right, Chelsea, let's just jump into our general thoughts. What are your general thoughts for the second episode of the season?
I thought it was better than the first. I guess it still wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't as good when I watched it the second time.
That's insane.
I know.
That's the opposite of how it always happens.
I know. I let you down.
Where's your headspace at? What's bugging
Lay
you?
off, man. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
We're back in fine form, baby. We are back. Oh, this is great. This is amazing. I loved it the first time I watched it, and as it's always supposed to be, I loved it even more the second time around. Can you believe that?
That's not how it's supposed to be always.
That's how it always is all the time for everybody. What a wonderful episode. Just a love letter to Star Trek in so many ways. I can't wait to find out how much you loved it, because it sounds like you loved it as much as I did. Let's just jump in to who's your favorite character or characters this week?
Tendi.
Yay!
I know. I feel like they did her dirty last week, and then they were like, oh, you know what? We should probably give her all the good lines. And they did, and she nailed it.
She did.
She was awesome. So it's nice to have like that version of Tendi back. What about you? Who's your favorite?
This was really tough because, as I previously stated, I liked everything about this episode. But I'm going to go with Boimler.
Okay. I can see it.
He was so great in this, and good for him for sticking up for the D. I really feel like his time on the Titan has just been a great metaphor. And he kind of talks about, like, the time on the Titan is so much different than the time on the Cerritos, and I feel like it's a great metaphor for Star Trek television versus the movies, specifically Next Generation, like TNG versus TNG movies. They go from explorers to action heroes. But some people and fans, and myself, and Riker, seem to miss the days of those string quartets and exploration. Boimler likes the movies, but at the end of the day, he just wants to return to what makes Trek, and that's the shows. So it's nice to see him back on the Cerritos and, just digging the science.
They went from explorers to exploders.
Nice.
Wow.
That's exactly what happened. And some people love that, like the away team, who are a bunch of action heroes.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of
not Boimler.
not Boimler.
Not even a little.
And the away team loves it. But Boimler had to remind them, like, what did you want to be? You didn't get into Starfleet to be an action hero. Some of them just love beaming. So that was it. As my favorite character, I'll get to a few more things from Boimler later on. But I loved his arc in this. Do you have a favorite moment?
It was kind of hard. I wrote one down because I felt like I needed one.
Kind of hard because there's so many. I understand.
See, this is why I felt like I had to write one down. I think my favorite moment was when Tendi called the collector a pervert because he stole Kalis' sex helmet, and then immediately goes, "No judgment, though."
Such a great delivery of that line.
That was pretty great. And I mean, that also ties in, I guess, with like her seeing Kaylos's fornication helmet. That was funny. She's like, safety first.
Safety first.
What about you? What was your favorite moment if you had to supply just one and not the whole episode?
Okay, many. Yeah, just about the entirety of the episode is my favorite moment. But I loved every moment on the Titan and its away team. I loved Mariner and Jet butting heads before asking for Rutherford and Tendy's opinion, to which that is what saved the day. So it was nice to give them, to make them two the heroes. And Kayshon is a freaking adorable puppet.
He is. He's very
super cute.
I wonder if they're going to come out with like a little plushy merch line.
I've already seen, like, it's so crazy that people have already made that doll.
Really?
Like, just fans. And it's adorable. So, yeah. What's your funniest line?
I have two. One you already said was, I joined up because I love beaming. That makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
It's so weird. And the second one was on the deck of the Cerritos, or on the bridge of the Cerritos, where Ransom goes, weren't they the ones who tried to collect data? And then the captain goes, they all tried to collect data. And then Paul F. Tompkins, Birdman, says, why couldn't they just leave poor Data alone? He just wanted to feel.
Yes.
So good. What about you?
Yeah, I have that one down for sure. Paul F. Tompkins as Counselor Miglimo is such a delight. I love that they're going the next gen route by having him sit in the counselor seat on the bridge, which we haven't seen yet.
He's adorable.
That whole ending with him is great too, with the puppet. I want to use them in my counseling sessions.
This is puppet therapy.
When back to Boimler, when his old buddies on the Cerritos ask him what the Titan was like, Boimler says, it was a bunch of complex characters thrown into heavily serialized battles, which always ended in mind-blowing twists, which made me question the basic tenets of my reality. I love that because it shows that the Star Trek universe is big enough to contain all those heavy serialized stories like Picard and Discovery, and still contain the lighter ones like Lower Decks and one-off episodes of the week, which presumably Strange New Worlds will be. So it's a big enough universe that it just has all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm really excited about Anson Mount.
I know. Me too.
It's going to be so great.
Yes. I had Kaylos's sex helmet. You took it? That's what set off the ship? This is all your fault, you pervert. No judgment. Yeah, it's a great line. It just so wonderfully acted out. Those are probably my funniest lines. I have some additional pros. Do you have any additional pros?
I do. Okay. I like that Riker's crew is just full of like these beautiful, badass people with cool accents. And then like you look at the Cerritos crew and it's just like, ew, yikes.
You even see it when he was putting together the away mission in the conference lounge. He had like all their like photos, like their mugshot, their Starfleet shots, and one just did not look good compared to the other. They're also like badass, and you just have like Boimler.
Yeah, they have like the coolest haircuts.
I would like to know more about his first officer, whatever she is.
Yeah, she's cool looking. Mm-hmm. I like that we get Boimler back. I also like that they found a way to keep a Boimler on the Titan. I'm hoping that we'll see more of the Titan, and this isn't just like farewell.
It seems like that's a great way to just revisit.
Yeah, like tie it in.
I would be shocked if we didn't see it, at least at the end of the season, because we might see this William Boimler promoted again, like by the time we get to the end of the season. He might be a lieutenant on the Titan.
Such a suck up.
Oh, yeah.
I love that the heroes this week were actually like scientists and not just like the all brawn, no brain kind of, like you said, action hero.
Yeah.
Because like Boimler is the hero for the Titan issue. And then, Tendi and Rutherford actually got to use like their specialty. And it wasn't, as Riker would say, just punching holes through stuff. I liked that Mariner had some competition to like knock her down a peg or two. We'll get to that later, though. Let's see. I think that is all of my additional pros. What about you?
I'll try to just narrow it down, but I like the sonic showers. We've seen them kind of, I think, maybe once or twice. I think we saw B'Elanna in one in Voyager, and we saw.
Ugh.
I think we saw Archer in Enterprise because it like malfunctioned or something. But I really love the way they use the sonic showers with like blurring out the nudity. So it was just like the sonic beams that was instead of actual like blurring out, which is cool. I love how just nonchalant people are about their bodies, which is how it should be in the 24th century. I love that. And it makes sense because we've seen their quarters on the lower decks. They don't have their own rooms. They're in the hallway. So it would make sense to have like a communal shower for the lower deckers. The pack leads, I might have to watch the pack led episode of Next Gen at some point.
I'm lost. They're just so big and dumb and oh my gosh. I'm like, is this normal?
It is kind of normal.
Okay.
We'll have to watch, I think it's a Samaritan Snare. I think it's like a season 2 episode of Next Gen where they make their debut. And they're super stupid, but they're tricky. I think they steal Geordi to make their engines go. So they are.
Oh my god!
They're dumb, but they do steal,
Yeah.
and they are dangerous.
Jeez.
I love their Packlet saw that they use to bash open a door instead of slide through.
Must hit door with saw. Oh my gosh!
Hey, they're stealing our snacks.
I love that. I love that they just have a whole snack section
Like
hidden.
Cheeto, like little cheese balls.
Little cheese puffs.
I love Boimler going undercover as a miner and immediately being you're totally in Starfleet. Look how soft your hands are. Yeah, that's about it. I say without mentioning everything. What do you have for cons?
I feel like this is pretty obvious, but why did we get like nothing from Kayshon? His name is in the title. That was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
But I am glad that it didn't kill him. So we'll see him in future episodes, but that was just a little misleading.
Okay.
I thought Mariner and Jet were ridiculously obnoxious. Just like the pissing contest and the power struggle. Like, it's weird because as a pro, it was nice to see her knocked down, but I just didn't think that was a fun storyline at all. I don't know. And then why were there no collectibles from DS9, or did I just miss them? Like, why can't we have Sisko's baseball in there? Something.
So, yes, there are 1,000 in there. Out of them, there are a few from DS9, but they're really hard to find. There's a baseball hat from the Logicians, the Vulcan team that Sisko.
Oh, did I not see that then?
It's so hard to find. There's so
Okay.
many of them. There's like Khan's necklace is what almost crushes Kayshon. There's not a ton. I know there might be like a baseball or something, but there's not a baseball.
Okay.
But there was a baseball hat from Deep Space Nine. But
Well, then I guess that's not a con.
there should be so much more. I mean, what about like Sisko's clock and his baseball and
Or his head.
Sisko's head? It's not.
Sorry, I got caught up in the
anymore.
moment.
His head at this point should still be inside the Bajoran wormhole. So, yeah,
Should be.
I completely agree. There's so much Deep Space Nine stuff we should be getting, and hopefully we will. Oh, was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Kayshon was kind of my con, only because I really couldn't find a con also, and it's a maybe. He's okay here, but I'm also worried that his presence on the show could be just a one-note punchline. Just like, hey, here's the. Have you seen that episode?
Yes.
Okay. So they used they did use every line that they used, like the Beast at Tanagra and Shaka when the walls fell. They did use them correctly. They didn't just say them to say them. They actually use them in the right moments. So they do. So that's cool that they mean what they mean. But I got a little nervous that they maybe just brought him in to just say those lines each week. That being said, though, his delivery of Shaka when the walls fell after getting shot down at the bar, that slays me because that's great. That's the phrase that the Temerian Captain Dathan would use in the Next Gen episode whenever he failed to get Picard to understand. So that's like their saying of like failure. So I get that like Shaka when the walls fell because he got shot down asking a woman out, which is great. So I love that. And I'm also waiting for a future episode in which someone says yes to go out with Kayshon so we can hear him scream, "So Kath, his eyes uncovered!"
Oh my gosh.
Success!
I feel like they should have made that scene happen when they managed to turn him from a puppet.
Maybe, but
could have
maybe
just
they're
shouted
waiting
that.
for it. So yeah, it could be one note, but that being said, also he's being played by the delightful Carl Tart. I love very much, and he's just so delightful. So I am glad, like you said, that he didn't die in this immediately. Because then we might begin like a Kinney situation where they're just killing their security officers
Yeah, just for
every
fun.
week. But he's back, so good. So I'm interested to see what they do with him now, because they got rid of him super early on, which they had to for Jet and Mariner to fight. And I get Jet and Mariner. It was kind of annoying, like, here we go again.
Yeah.
But I get that because Jet was coming from Beta Shift, which is kind of higher up than Delta Shift is like the last shift. So he should think that he's kind of like, hey, I'm the big ensign coming in, and Mariner's going to fight him on that. But it's kind of predictable that would happen, and that happened for most of the episode.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
As for like Easter eggs, there are literally too many to name, but you guys should really give it a googs because it's insanely
Googs.
impressive. I do love that as the newly named suck-up William Boimler, as we leave him and Captain Riker, Riker says to the computer, "Play Nightbird." Now that harkens back to the 2 Rikers episode, Second Chances.
Oh.
That episode opens with one of those classic concerts that Riker is putting on in 10 Forward with his trombone. And when he asks for requests, Deanna yells out, "Nightbird," knowing that there's a part in that song Riker can't get through. So she was doing that to
mean.
be a dick. And he knew it, and she thought it was so hilarious. And he's like, "All right, Nightbird." And luckily, as soon as he's about to play it, they get called away.
Right.
So he's saved. But that's funny. That's funny that they bring up Nightbird in this episode with 2 Boimlers. This sounds familiar.
I know about this.
That's it. Before we get into ranking and fan comments, I thought I would recommend 3 episodes to everybody from things that came out of this podcast or this episode of Lower Decks. One, and they're all from Next Generation this week, is the season 3 episode, The Most Toys, which is where I think it's Kivo. He's the collector that stole Data. So when they mentioned
Data.
Hey, is that the same collector that stole Data? No, but he is part of the same guild. And in fact, the guy on the wall that they're collecting, he's got the same pin as Kivo does. Like, it must be the collector's faction pin. And
Maybe that was Kivo.
It's a different guy.
How do you know? Did they say that?
They mentioned that.
Oh.
Because Ransom's like, this isn't the same collector that stole Data. And she's like,
She just says they all tried to collect Data. She doesn't explicitly say no.
I feel like she did, or somebody, because I listened for that the second time around, because saying no, but all collectors, they all want Data. But it's not him, because they say his name and it's not Kivo, and it doesn't look anything like him, but it's definitely the same guild, which was cool. The Most Toys in our all-time list that we've reviewed out of 716 episodes, The Most Toys comes in at number 425, so right there in the middle with a 6.05. Number 2 recommendation is, of course, a 6th season episode of TNG, Second Chances, where we get the William Riker. Did you watch that one? Or the Thomas Riker, sorry.
Wait, I think I've seen him and his weird twin.
Okay, that only happened once.
Okay, so then, yes?
Okay.
Maybe I just saw parts
I feel
of it.
like I've been calling him William Riker the whole time, but it's Thomas Riker. William Riker is our
I didn't
actual
know that
Riker.
it was a clone. I legit thought it was like an evil twin.
It's actually exactly like what happens with Boimler. That's what gives Boimler the idea, because it's a beaming accident.
Doesn't it also happen with Kirk in the original series?
Yes, but then that one, and maybe we'll get some of that in this, because in that one, he kind of got split into like his more dominant.
Yeah.
And so you have like a guy that's kind of like, then you have a guy that's like,
assertive.
I said, give me the brandy. And it's like,
Okay.
bad. But we see like this Boimler, the Thomas Boimler or William Boimler, I can't remember.
William.
Okay, Boimler. He
Bradford and William.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be a little bit different than our Bradford because he's already like immediately like a little more confident in his suck up and
absolutely.
Like, Bradford panics when he says, "Thanks, Riker, Captain,
Mr. Captain,
Mr. Captain, sir." So there might be more of like a Riker split than a Riker split, a Kirk split. Oh my God, there might be more of a Kirk split than a Riker split because the personalities.
That's gonna suck for our Boimler because like I didn't honestly think he could get more passive.
Yes.
So I guess here we go, guys.
Yeah, because with the Riker split, they were the same identical guy, but one got transported up and one got put back down. So he was just by himself for like 7 years, but he was still wonderful. Riker. Yeah, and then we do see him one more time on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Wait, that's where I've seen him. So I haven't seen that episode.
The only time both Rikers are together are in the Next Gen episode.
No, but I saw Riker on DS9, and you're like, that's not Riker, that's Thomas Riker. And then I think you just explained some of the plot, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, because you get the amazing...
Because I thought it was weird.
Him tearing off his mutton chops to reveal he doesn't have a beard, but in fact, a goatee to commercial break.
Yes, because I thought it was like Mirror Universe Riker.
Yes.
And you're like, no. No.
Chelsea, no.
Sit down, child.
My dear child. So innocent. So sweet. And of course, number one recommendation is Darmok because of Kayshon, but it's also an amazing episode.
I thought it was called like Darmok and Jalad.
It's just Darmok.
Oh.
Now, Second Chances on our all-time list is higher than most toys. It comes in at number 340 with a 6.5.
Okay.
But Darmok is number 37 all time.
Oh, wow.
So it's way up there with an 8.87.
Holy cow.
And Darmok is one of the ones I gave a 10 to. So that's one of my all-time favorite episodes. All right, that's what we thought about this week's episode. Let's hear from you guys at home.
Picking up communication, sir.
Senior Council Member Wayne Fraser says, I was really hoping to see more of Kayshon. The children of Tamarians, intrigued me after their one and only appearance in Next Generation's Darmok, which I consider the best Trek episode ever. Whoa. Very good, Wayne. He made a cuddly bear, but I look forward to him playing a bigger role going forward. This wasn't the strongest episode for me, but there were some fantastic parts, such as the sonic shower scene and what I assume was the skeleton of the giant Spock hanging from the ceiling. Yes, from the animated series episode, Infinite Vulcan. The Infinite Vulcan. It was the only episode written by Walter Koenig, who wasn't part of the animated series.
Nice.
But it was definitely the only one with a gigantic Spock. Spock 2, I believe his name was. And now we know his fate, unfortunately. Also glad that Boimler is back. It's good to have the gang back together. Will Flora says, this was more like it. I found myself giggling at all the tiny gags, loving all the references, and just having a good time. Love that Boimler got transporter cloned and Tendi lost the bet. 8 Riker legs on the captain's chair. And finally, Senior Council Member Laney says, no Troy, disappointed. Yeah, which is really weird. I get it, they don't have Marina this season to do her lines, but it all is also a cartoon, so they could have easily drew Deanna in this episode without any lines next to Riker, but instead it looked like maybe a Kelpian. It's kind of hard to tell that's in that. Yeah. It's weird because the eyes are more like Linus eyes,
yes,
but it's got like the little Kelpian tendrils.
He does. What are they called? Oh, crap. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, his little spook tentacles.
Spook detectors.
Yeah.
Oh, you should cut that out.
Sure. All right, let's go ahead and review Kayshon, His Eyes Open. Chelsea, what do you give it?
I'm going to give it 7 space Roombas.
All right, very good. What are they going to do, suck us to death?
Oh my God, they're going to suck us to death.
I'm going to give it 8. 8 corn pips. Oh, I want to talk about that too. Corn pips. That was a wonderfully ridiculous retcon to explain away all those past mix-ups in costuming where a character has the wrong pips, which happens so many times on Star Trek, can now be explained away with it's just he was eating some street corn. For the longest time before O'Brien even had a name, like he would be like a lieutenant, he'd be an ensign, and then he eventually was unlisted, so he didn't even have any. So he would have different pips each week. Now we know Miles just loves street corn.
Yes, he does.
So that explains it. Even last season on Lower Decks, when Mariner gets promoted, she gets promoted all the way to lieutenant instead of lieutenant junior grade. But maybe not. Maybe she just got promoted and she also was eating street corn. So that
I'd like to make a commercial for Pipcorns cereal. Corn
okay.
pips. There you
Corn
go.
pips.
Corn pips.
Yep. Once you pip, you can't stip.
Quip.
So I give it 8 corn pips. So how did Lower Decks do this week? Well, using the combined average score of ourselves, you guys that vote at home, let's do some tabulations here.
Math.
Keep stalling.
Oh, still more math.
This is really
We're
difficult.
doing math.
You try adding up 3 scores and dividing them by 3. I'd like to see you try it.
Oh, go. Okay.
This week's episode, thank you, Chelsea,
Yeah, absolutely. Here to help.
comes just with an average score of a 7.63. Not bad.
Okay.
And that'll do it for Lower Decks this week. Star Trek Wars is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and anywhere else fine podcasts are heard. You can also find us on Twitter at the Star Trek Wars. And if you like our logo or merchandise, you can head over to redbubble.com or follow the link attached to this episode. And make sure to give our main podcast a listen, as we have already covered every single episode of Star Trek ever released, 716 episodes, plus every new episode of Star Trek to come out since. We are currently running through all the Trek movies. We just released our review of First Contact, so look for Insurrection pretty soon. Chelsea, always a pleasure. Thanks for doing this with me.
Yes, thank you.
And Chelsea and I will not be back next week for Lower Decks, as we will be out of state on vacation. However, in our absence, there will be a roundtable discussion of Star Trek First Contact made and created by you guys at home. So check that out. Then the following week, we will return for Lower Decks, reviewing episodes 3 and 4, which I have a feeling will be great.
Coming at you with double content.
That's right. So that will do it for Lower Decks this week. Until next time, we are warping out in 5, 6, 7, 8.
Nightbird. Zoop.
Whoa.
It's supposed to go with it. It's the body bag and then the boat
Oh,
horn sending
right.
him
I
off.
thought you were saying something else entirely.
What?
Show me your Nightbird. All right.